Good morning. I'm Marty Gaska from Objective Group. Ramon Tramontini and I attended Camp IT's Enterprise Agile Summit on April 4th. A key question was raised on how to get funding for Agile projects. We don't really think we came away with the answer there, so we created this content. This video speaks about the hows to implement the structures needed to convince your stakeholders to fund your project. Now we'd like to share our thoughts. Getting funding for your Agile projects, Part 2, the how. In our last video, we explained why you need to make the following agreements with the sponsor, stakeholders, and finance. Skin in the game. A cadence must be set no less than 30 days for actionable communication. Addition of a new project boundary called quality. Quality must be monitored at all times, measuring defects, which are efficiency, and hypothesis accuracy, efficacy. Defining thresholds. Setting time-sensible thresholds must be set for each boundary. Visibility. Boundaries must be visible and accessible to the sponsor, finance, and stakeholders at all times. Data. Data must be accurate and collected automatically to avoid garbage in, garbage out, and trust in the visibility. And lastly, steering for the project. Using the data and insights you gather to adjust and steer the project's course. So let's talk about how we do these things. A simple project data structure is fundamental to enable project boundaries, monitoring, and forecasting. Let's talk about how you calculate them. We'll start with scope. You break down work into 3 levels. In the first level are demands, which map the client business needs. These are high-level requirements and a collection of various features. At the second level, we have the features themselves, sometimes including bugs, which must follow the INVEST principle: independent, negotiable, valuable, estimatable, small, and testable. At the second level, use T-shirt Ballpark clusters and represent a collection of third-level activities. These things shouldn't last more than 2 weeks, and they have to be deployable and testable from the customer's point of view. At the third level, we have the day-to-day activities. These are the smallest pieces of work: planning, development, testing, deploying. They shouldn't last more than 3 days, and any change to the scope will affect those project boundaries. Cancellations are such. On to the timeline. We calculate it using lead time, which is both your waiting time between tasks and the touch time. Your next cost, boundary. Cost is calculated by using your touch time against your hourly rates. Last but most important, the quality boundary. Defects in efficiency. It is calculated measuring the touch time fixing bugs against the total effort to build the features. Hypothesis accuracy, which is efficacy, is calculated measuring the effectiveness of the solution of the business problem or pain. You'll use surveys for this. The measurable boundaries are key to having your stakeholders being able to understand the project and its status. So we talked about T-shirt sizing. T-shirt sizing is the abstraction of touch time and lead time, applying sizing and segmentation to the actual data to create clusters, and repeat this process at least once a month so the boundaries can be affected with actual performance measurements. Look at your historical data to find patterns, improve your scope breakdown, and increase your forecast accuracy. Ballpark versus plan. Well, before he was president, General Eisenhower said, "Plans are useless, but planning is indispensable." This is as true today for Agile as ever. Balance and difference are the key. Rather than plan the whole project using beat up, utilize ballpark sizing for your project. Keep the details simple. Start early. Just as a fitted tuxedo specified to the exact measurements isn't comfortable after a change in your lifestyle, a T-shirt by comparison can stretch or be shrunk in a dryer to adjust. T-shirts aren't generally sold as 31.5 inches or 48.75 inches. They're extra small, grouped in batches all the way up to multiple extra larges. Those clusters require equivalent effort with flexibility to adjust as the project goes. Your task planning, on the other hand, does benefit by the planning process. The focus detail is appropriate as you will quickly get to and through the scope. Your active engagement in the here and now minimizes the risk of time. What you learn is then applied via retrofit in how you define your t-shirt sizes. Get and keep your data as fresh as you can. Just like fresh baked bread or freshly brewed coffee, your data loses its flavor over time. It's not the same when it's stale. And keep snapshots of your data when it's fresh. Those views on a daily basis can provide an idea of where you are going instead of where you are today. Create dashboards whenever possible. Trends tell compelling stories. Your sponsors can use those insights and stories to understand and make the right decision on the whole project, not just the right now. One pothole in a 30-mile stretch of road doesn't mean the road is bad. Trend provides that context. So let's pull this all together and summarize what we've learned. Everyone has to have a stake in the leap of faith for funding Agile. You must provide actionable information to your partners and allow them to make data-driven decisions in the spirit of cooperation you have created. Provide clear transparency to the outcomes, both good and bad. A revised hypothesis in Agile is way better than a failure in Waterfall after 6 weeks or 6 months. Focus on the most meaningful and valuable assets first. Delivery of value builds momentum and trust. Every Agile project is a shapeshifter. Allow it to flex and change, and you will deliver what is needed instead of what was asked for. That is the true value of Agile. Clean and simple data that can be understood is paramount. If you need a data scientist to explain your progress, you're doing it wrong. Simple metrics, simple explanations. Big design up front doesn't work at the speed of modern business. You have to use ballparks, which are constantly refined by experience, using repeated retrofit activities to ensure your boundaries reflect the reality around you and your project. Adjustments to your task planning and delivery experience also impact the way you use t-shirt grouping. Get really good at retrofitting your experience in both methods. Keep your data as clean as possible and automate its capture. Manually collected data creates garbage data. Keep the following point in mind. You've been doing projects without Agile for a long time. Your previous focus on detail built trust in you. Continue providing trusted detail and data, and your sponsors will trust you if you give them the transparency they need. This is how you secure and promote funding for your Agile projects. And so we conclude. I hope you have found this content valuable. If you have further questions, please reach out to us at objectivegroup.com. We look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.